Hello everybody and welcome to today's practice. Today we'll be mentioning the fifth limb, Pratyahara. This is not just any limb, it's the first limb that starts to dive into the meditational aspect of yoga. And the first step for this meditation, for this to start to still the mind, according to the limbs of yoga, is Pratyahara. And that means withdrawal of the senses. The sense of touch, smell, of hearing, of sight. I'm sorry if in English those senses are called differently. I can't recall all of them perfectly. But in any case, you understand what I'm saying. Those senses need to be withdrawn. You need to bring your attention inward. So for this limb, I was thinking about how to physically represent it. And to be fair, I don't think there's a specific way to represent it physically, apart with one breathing exercise. This breathing exercise consists of actually closing the senses one by one while we hold our breath. So we're going to be practicing this breathing exercise, and afterwards we'll be practicing a few physical movements, keeping those senses withdrawn. Now, I would say that bringing the senses inward, withdrawal of the senses, means to cut them off, basically. But I still want you to feel what's happening in your body. Instead of being aware of what happens around you, excuse me, try to be aware of what happens inside you. Whenever you're ready, I'm going to show you, first of all, please keep your eyes open. I will show you this breathing exercise. So it goes like this. We're going to take a few breaths in and out. Then we're going to take a deep breath in and hold our breath. At the top of the inhale, while we hold our breath, we're going to be doing this with the hands. With the little fingers and ring fingers, we're going to be closing our mouths. With the middle fingers, closing our nose. With the index fingers, our eyes. And with our thumbs, our ears. We're going to bring the chin slightly up. And this completely encapsulates our senses, restricts our senses to whatever's happening inside of us. I really like this exercise. I don't know if you've ever heard of sensory deprivation tanks. Well, if you've seen Stranger Things, I think that's a pretty popular series, so maybe you've seen it already. Elle, who is the the main character. I would say there are a few main characters, but she is the main character. She has psychic powers, and she needs a sensory deprivation tank to be able to express those powers to the most extent. And this sensory deprivation tank is water filled with salt, so you can float in it. And it's completely dark and completely soundproof. So we're kind of creating our own sensory deprivation tank here with our hands. And I really like this exercise. Whenever you're ready, please simply follow my cue until we hold our breath and close our senses. Deep breaths in and out with the eyes closed. The next time you inhale fully, I want you to hold your breath, close your mouth, nose, eyelids, ears, and hold. Shoulders away from ears. Chin slightly up. And whenever you can't hold it any longer, release the breath practice, exhaling and resuming to a normal breath. Wow, that's pretty intense. We're going to do 2 more rounds. But first, take a few breaths to feel the effects of the practice and slow down. Now, make sure when you bring your chin up that it's only slightly, okay? Just a few centimeters up, not fully back. Holding the breath and dropping the head back is not the best thing to do because it very much increases your odds to faint. I speak from experience. One day I followed a session in Biarritz, a yoga session, and the teacher somehow cued us to do very intense breathing exercises and then to hold our breath and drop our head back and do a back bend. Well, let me tell you, this was the craziest thing I've ever done yoga-wise. I almost fainted, like I dropped on my knees. I was 1 inch away from fainting, and he told us to do this maybe 5 times in a row. That was crazy. That was really crazy. I don't recommend it. I would not teach it again, and I never went to his classes again because I think it's dangerous, and I don't see what the point of it is. Anyway, don't drop your head back too far back. Just bring your chin up slightly, and please have a look. Just one last time before we do one more round. Like this. Shoulders down. Chin slightly up. Elbows out to the sides. That's it. All right, let's go for it. First, take a few deep breaths in and out with the eyes closed. Whenever you're ready, take a deep breath in. Hold. Of course, hold as long as you want. Whenever you need to exhale, exhale. Feel the effects of the practice. Now, one little subtle thing for the last final round. When you're done with the hold, please gently open your eyes if they were closed. So, let me show you something. For the eyes here, I don't want you to hurt your eyes, and I don't want you to press your fingers into your eyes. You need to see where the bottom of your eyelids are, so where your eyelashes are, almost, and then I'd like you to gently place your fingers right here, right on your eyelashes, at the base between the eyelashes and the eyelids, very gently. You don't need to press, gouge your eyes out. You just need to gently place your fingers at the base of your eyelids, and this will keep them closed. Simply by actually even placing your fingers on the eyelids themselves, it will keep your eyes closed. It's not like the eyelids are heavy and will your eyes open very easily, so be gentle. Same thing with your mouth. You don't need to close your mouth too hard because naturally it stays closed. Same thing for the nose. Just press as much as necessary. Here's the trick. You don't place your fingers too low here. You need to place them a bit higher so that you can close your nose with less effort. And last but not least, your ears. Well, simply press your thumbs on the sides here of your ears with a little skinny bit and place that skinny bit inside. Boop, just like this. So don't place your fingers in your ears, but just a few precisions. Okay, round number 3. Take a few breaths here. Whenever you're ready, I want you to take a deep breath in. Hold. Release whenever you need to. Keep your eyes closed and feel the effects of the practice. Okay, great job. For the next part of this session, we'll be learning Ujjayi breath. In my opinion, Ujjayi breath is fundamental to this Pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses. Now, withdrawing your senses without using your hands is challenging. If you have Ujjayi breath, it will help you tremendously to direct your attention inward, to withdraw your senses. As I said, it's not about cutting all your senses off. It's about redirecting your perception of things from an outward perception to an inward perception. So Ujjayi breath is about creating a sound that comes from within on which you can focus on. Ujjayi breath is, for some people, simple, for some people, complex. Ujjayi breath is about slightly contracting the throat to restrict the airflow and to create that sound. So one way to learn Ujjayi breath, and the one I always use because in my opinion it's the most comprehensive way, is the fogging up the mirror way. So I'd like you, if you don't already know Ujjayi breath, to follow my instructions. If you already know Ujjayi breath, I invite you to start using it and to gently draw your attention inward. A good test, a good challenge for you is, since I'm talking, you might be distracted by my words. So if you're already using Ujjayi breath, try to direct your attention inward, so much so that you can't even hear what I'm saying. Ultimately, you will not even be able to repeat any word of what I'm saying because you're too focused on your Ujjayi breath. Okay, for those of you who don't know, let's practice together. Right hand in front of you, palm facing you. I want you to imagine that your hand is a mirror. Now, I'm sure you've already fogged up a mirror before. It's about slightly contracting the throat, making the air warmer, more humid for this fog to appear on the mirror. Just like this. That's it. The sound that you're hearing is already Ujjayi breath. Okay, next step. Try to do the same thing inhaling. So keep the same throat contraction as you exhale and as you inhale. Good. The next step is to do it with the mouth closed, so with the nose. I'm sure the amount of people who fogged up a mirror with their noses is not a lot. So it's a bit more challenging. keeping that throat contraction with the mouth open, and then closing the mouth. You can do it in one motion here. You start exhaling with the mouth open as if you were fogging up the mirror, and then you close your mouth, continuing that sound, but with the mouth closed, just like this. Now, last step, you do it inhaling and exhaling. You can modulate the amount of throat contraction that you're applying to increase or decrease the resistance, to increase and decrease the sound that you're generating. I would say there are two ways to practice Ujjayi breath. The more intense one is more when you practice an intense yoga session, especially if you're with other people. It turns up the heat. It's a great way to build that connection with other people and to bring up the heat within the body. When you're meditating, when you're trying to breathe this, to bring the senses inward, I would suggest a very slight Ujjayi breath, barely audible. If there's people around you, they could barely hear you doing Ujjayi breath. That's what I want you to do today. Very slight throat contraction, just so that you can hear your own breath. Let's practice it. If you have questions about it, if you still can't do it, that's okay. Let me know in the comments and I shall answer in my next story, of course. We're simply going to be practicing some neck release exercises with our senses withdrawn, keeping our attention on Ujjayi breath. As you exhale, turn your head to the right. Inhale back to center. Exhale to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, tilt your head forward. Keep breathing here with your head tilted forward. Slowly bring your chin back up. Keep your spine long, your back away from the backrest. Focus on bringing your shoulders back and down. Focus on bringing your chest up, proud chest, and tucking the chin in, humble chin. Ujjayi breath and the withdrawal of the senses can be great tools when you want to focus on your book, on what you're studying, on work, or simply if you are overstimulated by your environment and you want to calm things down. You want to still your mind and slow down your metabolism. Create your own bubble. Then Ujjayi breath, in my opinion, is one of the best tools for that. I encourage you to use it throughout the day. That's what I use when I pass my driver's license, to stay focused and to cut myself off from that anxiety, from that stress, and just focus on what I needed to do. Whenever you're ready, slowly release that Ujjayi breath and resume to a relaxed throat, normal breath. Slowly, gently, open your eyes. Bring your hands to heart center. Namaste. Great job, everybody. This was limb number 5, Pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses, something that I think can be utilized every day in various situations. Like if cars are honking their horns at you, just use Ujjayi breath, create your bubble, and that'll help you a lot in many situations. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I will answer them in the story, of course. I hope you have a great day ahead, and I'll see you very soon for limb number 6. All right, namaste, everybody. See you soon.